What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying life today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Premium. Huge thank you to Matt May over at Safford Brown Mazda of Chantilly, Virginia for allowing me to do this video for you guys today. If you are interested in this particular CX-50 or any Mazda product, then I'll be sure to have Matt's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. Today we're dealing with some external factors that I cannot control, like the planes, like the wind, but we're gonna make the best of it. So just like usual, first I'm gonna talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2024 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Premium. And this particular one has been painted in ingot blue metallic. I wanted to preface this video by saying for 2024, Mazda adjusted the steering and the suspension on the CX-50, but other than that, not much has changed. But this one being the Turbo Premium, as standard, you get LED headlights with auto leveling and high beam control, as well as LED daytime running lights and LED turn signals. This being the Turbo Premium, you get the gloss black front grille with your Mazda logo located at the center of the grille. Just beneath your grille, you get the metallic gray signature wing, which is what this thing is right here. And then taking a step back and coming down just a little bit, you get the satin black lower fascia as well as the satin black mesh-like outer grills. And there is a closer view of your outer grills. And then you may be able to tell at the center of the bottom of your front bumper, you get the silver front chin. And this one being the Turbo Premium, you get 8.6 inches of ground clearance. So as mentioned, you get the satin black lower fascia, and that satin black lower fascia leads into your satin black wheel arch moldings. The Turbo Premium gets G vectoring control plus, and these are the standard and only wheels you can get with the Turbo Premium, but they are 20-inch black metallic with machine finish wheels, and these wheels are wrapped in 245/45 Goodyear Eagle Touring all season tires. And I'm going to give you a view of the tread pattern on these tires here as best that I can. There's a view of that. And then also as standard with this model, you get the rain sensing wipers as well as the windshield wiper deicer. And the observant viewer may be able to tell that the mirror caps are a different color from the vehicle, and that is because the Turbo Premium gets gloss black mirror caps with integrated turn signals. And as standard, these side view mirrors are heated, power folding. You get 2 memory settings, so not only is the vehicle going to memorize your driver's seat settings, it is also going to memorize the outer mirror settings as well, and the 2 memory settings are located right here. And then last but not least, you also do get the blind spot monitoring on the upper left hand side of your driver's side mirror and on the upper right hand side of your passenger side mirror. And then I also noticed that in the direct sunlight, you can see there's a little bit of blue metallic flake here on your mirror caps. I love that little touch. Mazda has very, very nice colors. One of my favorite colors that I'm not normally a fan of that Mazda has is Soul Red. My mom has a Soul Red ND Miata, and it looks absolutely fantastic in person. I also got that car paint corrected and ceramic coated for her, which makes it look that much better. But at the top of the roof, you get the silver roof rails, and then you get the black window trim. But what's kind of interesting about the CX-50 is that, take a look back here, you get the satin chrome accenting on your D-pillar, which is kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the other window trim is satin black, and then you get the satin chrome window trim all the way at the back. So it's like that on both sides. Kind of interesting. But you also get body color door handles with keyless access. Just keep in mind, however, the keyless access function is only on your front 2 door handles. The rear 2 door handles do not get the keyless access function. And as mentioned, at the front, you get the satin black lower fascia, leads into your satin black wheel arch moldings, and then you also get the satin black door cladding at the bottom of all of your passenger doors as well. And then coming behind here, if you press on this with the vehicle being unlocked, you can see it opens up. This being the Turbo Premium, you can fill this thing up with 93 octane and you're gonna see an additional 29 horsepower. However, you can also fill this thing up with regular, no problem to the engine. It will take it just fine, but if you're feeling a little frisky that day, you can fill this thing up with premium 93 octane and see some additional power gains, which is definitely cool. And then up top here, also exclusive to the Turbo Premium, and up you get the body color shark fin antenna. All other vehicles also do get the the body color roof spoiler with your integrated third brake light. You also get a rear window defroster, you get a rear wiper back here, and the Turbo Premium comes standard with LED combination taillights. I'm gonna give you a rear 3/4 shot of this thing right here. And I'm going to also give you a booty shot of this thing back here. You can see on your liftgate, you get chrome badging. And then just underneath your Mazda logo and offset to the right is where you will find your backup camera. But just underneath the Mazda logo, if you follow it straight down, put your hand behind here, you'll feel a little pad. And if the vehicle is unlocked or you have your key fob in your pocket and you press on that pad, that will open up your height adjustable power liftgate. And then this is the amount of storage space that you have in the back of the CX-50. Very respectable storage space. You can fit what you need to back here. I would say, let's say you have some carry-on suitcases. I would say you could probably, you know, stack 8 to 10 carry-on suitcases back here if you know how to play Tetris. I'm going to put the price of all the different accessories back here on screen. So basically, you have the cargo blocks, you have the wheel locks, and you also have the cargo net as well. On the driver's side of the trunk, you can see you get this little storage cubby back here. And back here, you also get a 12-volt power outlet. Also on the driver's side, you get an LED light as well as 2 grocery bag hooks. You get 2 grocery bag hooks on this side as well. And you may notice you have these door handle looking things here. And let's say you pull on one of the door handle looking things. Well, that is going to drop your second row seat. So pull on that. Second row seats drop for an additional about 4 feet of storage space. So you can see this is with the seats up. That is with the seats down. You get quite a bit of extra storage space back there with those seats down. And then underneath all of this stuff, you can see you got your carpeted CX-50 cargo net or cargo mat. And then underneath all of that kind of stuff, you have your spare tire. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the trunk area. But on the trunk itself, you get an LED light as well as these 2 buttons right here. The button on the left is going to lock the vehicle. The button on the right is going to close the power liftgate, which is what we want to do right now. And while that power liftgate closes, we're going to finish things off here at the back end. So coming down just a little bit, you get the satin black rear bumper. You also get the silver valance that kind of encapsulates your dual exhaust system. And then this being the Turbo Premium, you get a max tow capacity of 3,500 pounds. So that's a pretty respectable tow capacity. You can pull a couple jet skis, you can pull a small boat. But you know, when it comes to towing, this isn't the most capable SUV that can carry around your family and tow. So if you need something that needs to tow about 5,000 pounds, I would look elsewhere. However, this can pull a utility trailer, maybe a 4-wheeler, a side-by-side or something like that, as long as they weigh under 3,500 pounds. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood, it reveals the 2.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder that makes 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque when running on regular fuel. However, if you filled this thing up with 93 octane, you could see up to 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Either way, it's made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission for a 0 to 60 time in 6.6 seconds. And if you were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 23 miles per gallon in the city, 29 miles per gallon on the highway for 25 miles per gallon combined with standard all-wheel drive. That is one of the really cool things I think about Mazda's turbo engines, is that you can fill them up with regular all day long, no problem, no harm done to the engine. But if you're feeling a little frisky, feeling like you wanted some additional power, you can fill them up with 93 octane and see an additional 29 horsepower and 10 pound-feet of torque. So that's pretty cool. But if you're enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you're enjoying the video, if you've learned anything from the video, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Those things look very good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm. That's what helps me grow. I would greatly appreciate it. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, as mentioned earlier in the video, you get keyless access as standard. So all you have to do is have your key fob in your pocket, walk up to the vehicle, put your hand behind the door handle, and it will unlock. You can also lock it if you run your finger across this rectangular looking thing, and now it is locked. This is what the key fob looks like. It's mostly satin black. You can see you have your Mazda logo right here. And then going over the functions on the key fob, starting from the top, you have your lock function, your unlock function, your power liftgate function, and your panic function. But pressing the unlock function, let's see what the interior of this particular CX-50 has to offer. So this one's been spec'd with the terracotta leather upholstery. If you're not a fan of the terracotta, you can also spec with this with the black leather upholstery. But we are going to start here on our driver's side door panel. And as standard with the Turbo Premium, you get a 12-speaker Bose sound system. And then coming down the door panel a little bit, you get some black leather wrapping with some terracotta accent colored stitching. Then you get a terracotta leather leather wrapped armrest that is nicely padded. Going over the functions on the door panel, you have your unlock and your lock functions, your power side view mirror controls. Pressing on this button is going to power fold in or out your side view mirrors. Automatic up and down windows at all 4 corners. Pressing on this button is going to restrict your passenger window privileges. You get some storage space here, a spot you could set a water bottle there, and that kind of about does it for the driver door panel. Again, here are what your front seats look like, and as standard with this one, you get an 8-way power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar and 2 memory seat adjustment settings. You also get a 6-way power front passenger seat. As standard, you get heated and ventilated front seats. And now let's step into the interior and see what the interior of this has to offer. So first things first, take a listen to what it sounds like when you close the door. Now let's fire this thing up. And that is what it sounds like being fired up from the driver's perspective. And now what I'm gonna do is walk you throughout the entire interior of this thing. So coming down over to here, this is basically going to turn off all of your different driver assistance features. This is to turn your traction control system on or off. This is going to turn the automatic stop start system on or off. This is going to open and or close your power liftgate. As mentioned, you get 2 memory seat adjustment settings here. And then coming to this part here, if you flip this down, that gives you access into your manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. So you can push the steering wheel away from you. You can bring the steering wheel towards you, and it also moves up and down. Now I'm just gonna put it back into position. Now that is that, and let's take a listen to the turn signal. That is what the turn signal sounds like here on the CX-50. And not only is this your turn signal control stock, this is also your high beam control stock and your headlight control stock. So right now the headlights are in the always on position. That is daytime running lights on. That is headlights automatic, and all the way down is headlights off. Now you also have this button at the end of the stock, and that is going to turn your automatic high beams on or off. And then zooming back out, you get a leather wrapped steering wheel, you get steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, and as standard with the Turbo Premium, you get a heated steering wheel. And in order to turn your heated steering wheel on, you come over to here and you click this button, and that is going to turn your heated steering wheel on or off. You get 1 level of adjustability with the heated steering wheel. And just like any other vehicle, you have your horn at the center, so let's take a listen to it. That is what the horn sounds like on the CX-50. Now going throughout the controls on the steering wheel, you have your volume controls right here. Pushing up is going to bring you forwards on a track. Pushing down is going to bring you backwards on a track. And then if you click right here, that is going to switch you between your different audio sources like AM, FM, XM, etc. And then this is going to speak to the vehicle. You can tell it to turn the AC to low, 61 degrees, whatever you want to set it to. And then that also is going to pick up on a phone call. That is going to hang up on a phone call. And the info button right here is to control your 7-inch LCD display located at the center of your gauge cluster, which I will get to here in a minute. But on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, going over these functions, this vehicle comes standard with adaptive cruise control. Mazda calls it their radar cruise control, but here are your adaptive cruise control settings. This is your windshield wiper control stock, and as mentioned, you get rain sensing wipers. So right now, when that auto is illuminated in that amber light, that means the rain sensing wipers are ready to go. Now, this is what the gauge cluster looks like. You have your tachometer all the way on the left. All the way on the right, you have your fuel gauge, you have your coolant temperature gauge. Right here, you have your fuel range, the ambient exterior temperature, speedometer all the way at the center. Then that's letting us know the driver assistance features are on. That is the transmission status stuff. This is your instant fuel economy. This right here is your odometer. Now going throughout that screen, as mentioned, you have the info button right here. So if I click on that info button, now you can see the drive information at the center of the speedometer. Clicking that again, now you have your digital speedometer readout as well as the driver assistance features. You click that one more time, it brings you back into the screen we started on. So not too much adjustability here with the LCD display. But you can see that we got a trip button right here. So if you click on the trip button, pay attention to what happens right where it says 23. It's gonna bring you in between your different trip A information and your trip B information. And let's say I wanted to reset the trip B information. All I have to do is press and hold on this right here, and those values will reset back down to 0. Now, also, you have these 2 controls here. This is to brighten the gauge cluster as well as the backlit buttons. This is going to dim the gauge cluster as well as the backlit buttons. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on in our gauge cluster. Now coming up just a little bit, I'm not sure if the camera's gonna pick it up all that well, but as standard with the Turbo Premium, and one of the selling points to the Turbo Premium is the head-up display system. So right now the head-up display system is displaying my digital speedometer readout, and it's basically right where I want to see it while I'm driving the vehicle down the road. So I really like to see that, and you can adjust what you see on your head-up display throughout your infotainment system, which we are going to get into now. So as standard with the Turbo Premium, you get a 10.25-inch infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. So this is what the screen looks like. It is only touchscreen when you're in your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto stuff. Otherwise, you have to control it with this knob down here. So I'm just going to control it with the knob. So going all the way up, you have your different information stuff. So you can see those three things there. You also have the back button, and then if you wanted to select something, you push down on this and then just navigate by twisting it to the right or to the left. So going down one, you got your entertainment stuff. You can see the song that's playing. Then you have your communication stuff, which is basically my phone stuff. Then you have your navigation stuff. You can pop up, basically just going to show you a compass at the moment. And then coming down one more, you have your different settings. If you click on the settings, you can go into your in-vehicle displays. Instead of a head-up display, Mazda calls it your active driving display. So if you click on that, you can adjust the height of the head-up display, the brightness of the head-up display, and the tilt adjustment of the head-up display, which is basically like this or like this. And then you can adjust the content that you see on it as well. But I'm not going to really mess with any of that. But backing back out of that, let's say you wanted to go into your Apple CarPlay stuff, right? All you would have to do is click this way, and then it will bring up your Apple CarPlay stuff. But because I have my personal hotspot on at the moment, and it is connected to my computer, the Apple CarPlay system does not want to work. But if I turn it off, let's try that. It might take a second to, you know, do its thing. Anyways, let's try it. We're gonna click over, I'm gonna click on my phone, and we're gonna see if it will connect to Apple CarPlay now that I turn my Wi-Fi hotspot off. And it will. So now, clicking over to the right, you can see we are gonna pop up into our Apple CarPlay screen, and now I can control the Apple CarPlay screen with, you know, the push of the touch screen. So you can see now, just touching the screen, it is responding to what I want it to do. So this screen is kind of weird because it's only touchscreen when you're in your Apple CarPlay stuff. When you exit Apple CarPlay, it is no longer touchscreen, which is kind of weird. But then if you click this right here, it's going to bring you into your different notification stuff. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on with our infotainment system. Now, if you come down just a little bit more, this vehicle comes standard with a dual zone climate control system. This is what the climate control system looks like. Temperature, fan speed, the recirculation stuff, and then the direction of which the air is blowing there. And then you have your temperature control knobs there and there. And as mentioned, as standard with this thing, you get the heated and the ventilated front seats. You get 3 levels of adjustability with both the heated and the ventilated front seats. And if you wanted to turn the entire climate control system off, you would click that button all the way over there. Coming down a little bit more, you get a 12-volt power outlet down here, and then over here you get a little bit of storage space. You also get 2 cup holders here, and let's say you wanted to control the transmission with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. You'd go into drive, and you flip this over to the left, and now you can control the transmission with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. And you can also push up to downshift and pull down to upshift with the gear shift selector here. You also have a couple different drive modes. So if I click down on that, you have your sport mode at the top. Coming down one, you have your normal mode, and you also have your off-road mode as well. I'm going to leave it in normal mode personally. And then you get an electronic parking brake. Auto hold is a function that basically, you know, if you're stuck in traffic, tired of holding your foot down on your brake yourself, you'd press that button there and the vehicle will hold you in place by itself with its braking system. And then these controls right here are for your infotainment system. So basically, if you wanted to mess with the infotainment system, that's going to pop up your navigation stuff. That is your shortcut button into your audio stuff. That's your home button. That's your back button. If you wanted to select something, you'd push down on this. If you wanted to navigate throughout the screen, you twist to the right or to the left. There's your little 5 seconds of teaching there. Then you have your volume control knob. This is also, if you push on it, going to mute the audio system. If you press and hold on it, that is going to turn the infotainment system back off. Press and hold on that again, the infotainment system will turn right back on. And then if you wanted to go forwards on a track, you'd push from right here. If you wanted to go backwards on a track, you'd push from right here. And then this button right here is configurable. If you push on that, it's going to tell you how to configure that button there. And that's kind of about it for those buttons. Now I wanted to show you that as standard with the Turbo Premium, you get a wireless charging pad. That is an iPhone 14 Pro Max right here, one of the bigger phones on the market, and it does fit within the wireless charging pad, as you may be able to tell. And then coming back just a little bit more, it says wireless charging pad, or wireless charging is unavailable, but anyways, you have these two buttons here, and when you click those buttons, that shows you your center console. Now down in your center console, you get two USB-A ports. So that is the connectivity down in there, the two USB-A ports. And I would say that this thing is probably about 6 inches deep and probably about, 7 inches or 8 inches that way. So decent amount of storage space down in the center console there. Working my way into the glove box, you do not get a lockable glove box. Opening up the glove box, you get a decent amount of storage space. So you can see up top there, you have your owner's manual stuff. Down here, you can set your napkins, your straws, the essentials like that. Closing that back up and coming up to here, you get an auto dimming rear view mirror with your universal garage door opener on the bottom of it. You can open up 3 garage bays with those buttons there. And then this lets you know who is buckled and who is not buckled. This lets you know if the passenger airbag is on or off. The driver and the front passenger both get LED reading lights. This is your instant dome light on button. It's going to turn on all of your interior dome lights. And then this button is whether you want the lights to turn on or not when you open up the doors. Also, as standard with this thing, you get a panoramic roof. You can see the window shade will go all the way back, but this part of the sunroof is the only piece that opens up. So you can slide it backwards, and I'll show you how far it opens up. So that is as far as it goes. I'll show you what it looks like from the exterior's perspective now. And if you wanted to tilt the sunroof only, all you would have to do is push up on that and the sunroof will tilt. Push forward on that again and the sunroof will close. Push forward one more time and the shade will close back up. Then you get a spot you could set your sunglasses. And then taking a look at our visor, you get a vanity mirror, a vanity light, a spot you could set any small little paper product. And then the visor itself does not slide out, but you get this sliding out piece right here that basically will slide out a little bit further than that. 1 second, maybe I'll open that up a little bit, and you can see it slides all the way out like that. So the visor doesn't move, but you get that little slider there, and then you also get an OPU panel on the driver's side. You get an OPU panel on the front passenger side as well. Now, talking about seat comfort, these seats are comfortable for me. I would say maybe if you're like 250, I don't know how comfortable these seats would be for you, but they're definitely very comfortable for me. I would say they probably are on the tad bit on the firmer side of things. A couple things I wanted to mention that you get as standard with the Turbo Premium, and a couple things that you should know about the Turbo Premium. It's basically the Turbo Premium gives you the ventilated front seats, the heated steering wheel, the power folding side view mirrors with memory, the 12-speaker Bose sound system, and the head-up display, as well as the roof-mounted shark fin antenna. But now I'm going to throw the entire window sticker on screen. You could take a look at whatever you want to, the couple options this one has, but I would highly suggest taking a look at the safety and security stuff. You can see what you get blind spot monitoring wise, adaptive cruise control wise, lane keeping wise, all the different safety features. But I am just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2024 CX-50 Turbo Premium is spec'd is $43,060. This thing is nearly fully loaded. The only trim level above this is the Turbo Premium Plus, and basically one feature that I really like on that one is the 360-degree view camera system. Other than that, this thing's pretty much as loaded as they come. But I do want to show you what we got going on in the rear seats before moving into the driving portion of the video. So taking a step out and looking at the rear door, this is what the door panel looks like. You get automatic up and down windows back here. The windows don't quite go all the way down. They stop about right there. But you do get a nicely padded armrest in that terracotta color, some storage space at the bottom of the door panel, as well as a speaker. And that's kind of about it for the door panel. Here are what your rear seats look like. If you wanted to fold this seat down, you come to about like right here. See if you can see that button right there. If you press on that button, you can fold these second row seats flat, and you get some more storage space for your trunk area. But I'm not going to mess with that now because we are going to step into these rear seats. And up top here, you get a dome light. You get a spot you can set your dry cleaning, as well as an OPU panel. You do not get a seat back pocket behind the driver's seat. However, you do get a seat back pocket behind the passenger seat. You also get 2 HVAC vents, 2 USB-A ports, a center fold down armrest with 2 cup holders, and you get the same stuff that you get on the driver's side back here on the passenger side over there. Now, when it comes to knee and leg room, I am 5'9". I am adjusted behind myself. You know, I have a good amount of knee and leg room left over, not like a ton, but I've got enough to be comfortable. And here's another view of that knee and leg room. And then when it comes to headroom, I still have a good amount of headroom left over as well. But let's see, can we recline these second row seats? No, this is as far as the second row seats go. Now, comparing the CX-5 to the CX-50, the CX-5, you can recline the second row seats, and the CX-50, you cannot recline the second row seats. So that's just something, if you're comparing the two, there's a little thing right there. But yeah, you know, that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the interior. So, you know, we've talked about the exterior, we talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive, as I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I'll see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, now on to the driving portion of the video. Take a listen. See how it handles. Fantastic handling. Like, whew, man, this thing handles very, very well. Honestly, this thing is almost like the SUV version of Miata, almost what it felt like around that turn. It was like I didn't have any sort of hesitance in my confidence of its ability to go around that turn. And you know, that's something that I do like about the Mazdas, is that they handle very, very well. And you know, I would say that the suspension may be on the firmer side. It's not too firm, but you can tell that it is somewhat firm. But when you go around turns like that, you're like, okay, it all makes sense. So this is a fantastic vehicle. And you know, I never really gave Mazda the appreciation that it deserved, because, you know, I never really driven a Mazda or a newer Mazda until, you know, recent times, which has, you know, been over the past year plus now. But before then, it's like, Mazda, whatever. But now that I've driven them, I've got a new appreciation for them, because they're really good, you know, and they're reliable, they're quick, they're comfortable, they're affordable, which is super important nowadays. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like this car would last a very, very long time when it comes to, you know, everything that you get in the interior, as well as the powertrain and all that kind of stuff. It's just not necessarily basic, but basic enough to where you could have this car in 20 years and it's still going to work. It's still going to fire up every day, and you're still going to have access into all of, you know, the different controls throughout, you know, the interior, because not everything is a freaking screen. Whereas nowadays, if you look at, you know, a lot of the other manufacturers, everything is controlled throughout a screen. It's like, why would you do that? You know, that screen, how well is that screen? You know, go to, you know, your random drawer at home and pull out that iPad that is 10 years old, and you try to use that iPad and see how glitchy that iPad is. I feel like that's the same thing it's going to be with all of these new vehicles with all the new screens. I think that's how it's going to be. That's my forecast for how those screens are going to turn out in 15-20 years from now. And they're going to be too expensive to replace. It doesn't make sense to replace them. It's just going to make sense. Why don't I just get a new car? So it's like, you know, do you really want to go throughout that in 15 years if you want to keep a car for a while? And that's why the Mazda is so good, because I think they did a great job at integrating the screen with the physical controls. And there's not too much, you know, screen stuff, for lack of a better word. You know, you got the physical climate controls, you've got the physical volume control knob and stuff like that, which is very nice in my personal opinion, and I appreciate that kind of stuff if you are going to keep a vehicle for the long term, which I know a lot of people are nowadays, because everything's just so expensive. It's like, well, I can't afford to buy another thing. So now I'm gonna go around this traffic circle here. I'm gonna throw this thing into sport mode, and I'm gonna do a nice little acceleration for you guys right here, floored. I love how I can hear the turbo noise. Brakes are also really, really good. And it's not giving me the full power yet, because the vehicle is not fully broken in yet. Hence why it's only revving up to about 5,000 RPM, whereas otherwise it would rev up to about 6,250 RPM. So very, very nice vehicle. It cruises great. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna do the handling test here real quick. I don't really have my stuff secured, but that is okay. So let's test the handling around these turns here. These are pretty severe turns. So this is the turn that I always like to push it on, and we'll see how it does around this turn here. Very well around that turn. It remained very flat, not very much body roll at all. And you know, it's a Mazda. They handle very, very well. I always say that. And any vehicle that I do, like any GM vehicle that I do videos with, I always, you know, seem to mention that their handling is very well, and that is because it is. But it seems like same thing here with the Mazda. All the Mazdas seem to handle pretty dang well as well. So, you know, I've done a video with the naturally aspirated version of the CX-50, and comparing the NA version to the one with the turbo engine, I would get the turbo engine 9 times out of 10. Unless you really just don't want to spend the extra money on the turbo, which I can understand why you wouldn't. The turbo is worth it. Here's another acceleration, just regular, a little bit more than regular. I love how when I let off the throttle it goes. So that Mustang was really loud. Yeah, like I was mentioning, I've driven the NA version of this. I've driven the turbo one. I personally am one person who really likes power. I like to have more power than less power. Hence why I would say if you're, you know, on the fence between the two, get the turbo. You're not going to be disappointed with it, believe me. However, if you don't want to spend the additional money, then, you know, I think you'll be fine with the NA version. You know, it's going to get better fuel economy than the turbo. It's just not going to be quite as quick as the turbo. But if you don't really care about the quickness, then the NA version is fine. If you care about quickness, get the turbo. Believe me, you will not regret it. So other than that, you know, it's very comfortable. The sound system is great. You know, I've never really been in a vehicle that has a Bose sound system where the sound system isn't good. Same thing here. Sound system is really, really good. If you like to listen to music, I would recommend you get one of the trim levels of the CX-50 that has the Bose sound system, because you're not going to be disappointed. The sound system sounds really, really good. And if you like listening to music in your vehicle, the Bose is the way to go. Other than that, the infotainment system is easy to use. You get standard adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring. If you want the 360-degree view camera system, you would have to look into getting the Turbo Premium Plus. Other than that, I think this thing is going to have everything that you want on a vehicle. It's going to give you a lot of very nice features that come at a great value. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything from the video, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Those things look very good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm, and that is what helps me grow. So I'd appreciate it if you would do those 3 things. But again, that is it for today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace!